structures and finance. And that's where most investors fall in the trap, and he is in dirt to wealth. Um, you can structure an investment one way and go bankrupt. You can structure another way and it'll be a high performing investment that you'll want to keep for a lifetime. And most people are not taught that. And I learned most of the ways how not to do it and went broke is why I knew that I was doing things and needed to
Why
adjust.
don't you speak on just some of the story? Give me like one story out of here about a time that you either didn't do due diligence or you just completely changed the outcome because you had some wisdom.
Well, on the due diligence aspect and relationships, this isn't in the book, but the reason I chose Perfect Publishing is because I knew you and your team were heart-centered individuals that were going to do everything that you could to make my book the best it could be. I didn't know if it would reach any people at all without y'all, because I have no clue on how to get a book out in the public. I can write a
Oh
book,
well, wearing his
but
cowboy hat, you and all those cowboys. That is one of my favorite events I've ever been to.
I wanted to shout out Scott Robinson that runs Camp Cowboy is an amazing individual, and I thank you for inviting me to that event because that is an event that I will help them with every year
Yep.
because what they're doing for veterans is unbelievable. And my thought process, any person that signed a blank check for this country up to and including their life not only deserves our respect, they deserve everything that we can do to help them reacclimate to life.
So let's translate that. We don't have to do it in Monkland anymore. Okay, we can do it in Americana. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Dr. Smiley Show. And I have one of my favorite friends, Cowboy Joe. How you doing, Cowboy Joe?
I'm doing excellent, Dr. Smiley. Thank you for having me on it. It's just an honor and privilege. Hope I can add value to your audience.
Well, your hope will become realized because you will. So this show is designed to be really an introduction because we haven't had you on my show for a little while. And I was doing quotes from your book on a weekly basis, and I kind of want to get back in that groove. And so I've missed you, and I think we might be seeing each other at some events coming up soon. So God willing, I'll see you in May in Tampa. It's Tampa, right? The
It's
hard
in
rock.
Tampa, yes.
Yeah. So God willing, you'll be there, and I'll be able to show you off as not just a friend, but a wonderful author of two books with two versions of wit and wisdom. So I wanted my audience to, the ones who may not know you, to get to know you. You know, today is a show filled day. I just had a show before this with David from Ghana is doing a really big event in July. And then I finished my day before I go to soccer practice with Kenny with William Paul Young, the guy who wrote The Shack that became a movie. He's a
Oh, okay.
So today's a big day of shows, and you're part of that big day. So I'm excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be here. And again, thank you for having me. It's an honor and a privilege.
We have had some fun, haven't we? We've been to several masterminds together, and you went to Camp Cowboy last year as a friend and guest of mine. And I have to say, I thought of you obviously because of the theme, but I also thought of you because of your gentlemanly nature, your leadership, of your wit and wisdom, but not just wit and wisdom. You are a very smart guy with relationships, but you're also a very smart guy at smelling a good deal and creating abundance. So I wanted to applaud you and bring you on the show in that light. So why don't you tell people where you're born, and we're going to go a shorter show because I want you on a big show when we have the new covers of these books in hand, and we have maybe we'll do it after Tampa. Maybe that's
All
all
right.
right.
Sounds like
So
fun.
tell people about who is Cowboy Joe.
All right. Well, I was born in LA, and that's not Los Angeles. That's Lower Alabama. I was raised on a ranch. Pretty much from the time I was walking, I knew how to work. Uh, when I was 6, my dad was killed in a car wreck, and I basically had to grow up that day. Uh, and the biggest thing life's taught me is it's not the events happen to you, it's how you react to them and what is your consciousness around them. And I use consciousness. A lot of people talk about mindset, but it's not mindset because you can believe it up here, but until you get it here in your heart, it doesn't mean anything. So that's why I use consciousness instead of mindset, because it's important that you not only get it in your mind, but you get it in your heart and you get the two of them working together. Because if your mind and your heart are in conflict with each other, you're going to have a rough life versus when they are in congruence with each other, life is actually pretty fun.
I like that. There's a quote by Gandhi that I've been really glued to, and it's a compliment of what you just said. He says, happiness is when what you think and what you say and what you do are in harmony, happiness. And so what you're talking about is the congruency of your integrity, the congruency of your purpose, and the congruency of your focus.
100%.
And you go to a lot of masterminds. I know we're cutting ahead a little bit about who is Cowboy Joe, but that speaks to me of one, you probably learned it there or learned more of how to polish that. But secondly, you find more people there.
Well, and one of the biggest reasons I go to as many masterminds as I do, and people are like, well, how do you spend that kind of money on coaching? I said, because I spent the first 3/4 of my life learning the hard way. And I've had lessons that cost me many, many millions of dollars. So spending $100,000 on a coach to keep from having to spend a couple of $1 million on that lesson, learning it the hard way,
Mm,
in both time, pain, and everything else, it's an investment. It's not a cost. And I fully
100%.
believe that every living thing is either growing or dying. You can't stay status quo. And I am of a growth mindset, and I will do it pretty much till the day I die.
So let's talk about that $100,000 coach you're hiring. So, you don't just hire someone because they're expensive. You hire someone because they get results. And if you want to give any shout outs to any of the coaches you've had, by all means, I'm always good with people giving shout outs when they care about something. So have at it.
Well, one of the biggest people that's had an impact in my life, there's many of them, but from a standpoint of the consciousness side of it, is Dr. Alok Trivedi. He is literally rewires people's brains with his tools. Then George Antone is who has taught me everything I know about capital structures and finance. And that's where most investors fall in the trap, and he is in Dirt to Wealth. Um, you can structure an investment one way and go bankrupt. You can structure another way and it'll be a high performing investment that you'll want to keep for a lifetime. And most people are not taught that. And I learned most of the ways how not to do it and went broke is why I knew that I was doing things and needed to adjust.
You know, the movie Founders, that was about Rick Coach, Ray Kroc. I'm sorry, Ray Kroc.
Like rock.
Yeah. So he's really frustrated. He needs a bank loan because he's structuring all these investments of franchises with people that want to have McDonald's. And someone overhears him in the bank and they say, you don't know what business you're in. He goes, yes, I do. I know what business I'm in. I'm in the hamburger business. And he says, no, you're in the real estate business. And when it dawns on him and this gentleman helps him restructure the deal, obviously he becomes one of the richest people in the world. And it
Real
speaks
estate business paying for them with hamburgers instead of dollars.
right. And he couldn't make a buck doing the burgers because the volume still had all these costs to them. But when he actually invested in the real estate, it turned into equity. And it turned into a second company that grew. So let's talk about this book. So Dirt to Wealth. This was the first reason that we met. We met at a Hero Mastermind, and I had heard you talk about, and a lot of the people that attended that event were investors in real estate. And the subtitle is How to Wrangle Millions from Land Development. And what I want to say is about Cowboy Joe is that he's a real deal. When he writes a book like this, he really has learned a lot. He has confessed that he's lost a lot, and he's also confessed that he is congruent with his mind and his heart. And I want to say a compliment to you live on the air. Joe, you are the ultimate gentleman. I have never communicated with you where you didn't communicate back to me expeditiously and with how can I help? How can I serve? So I just want to say thank you very much, Joe.
Uh, Thank you. It's my pleasure.
So let's talk about this book. Tell what people get if they get the book. Now it's gonna cost them about $20 to get a book like this, but what's it gonna give them?
It, it's cheap as $20 you can spend on something. That book can literally help you carry a development from beginning to end. The reason I wrote the book, number one, there's a lot of misconceptions around development. People are scared of it, and it is a big step, but there's ways to get into it incrementally with picking up the land and then getting rid of it in various stages, disposing of it for a profit, not having to carry it all the way through with millions and millions of dollars. And each stage, you're adding value and you're able to exit at that point in time to be able to, you can break it into smaller chunks. The other thing is, and I've learned that really life boils down to it, but really in development, it's about the relationships you build, not overlooking, you've heard people say you judge a person's character by how they treat the janitor as well as the CEO. And in development, that's a very true analysis because the secretary at the Planning and Zoning Commission can cost you 60 to 90 days by not overlooking your package, things like that, not submitting it in a timely manner. But when you become friends with them and you help them do their job, then they'll help look behind you. And if you did miss one submittal, they'll let you know so that you can get it in before a deadline and you make that meeting versus not saying a word to you. You miss the deadline, they send you the package back, and then you're
Out.
lost 60 days.
Right. Well,
And in some places, they only meet quarterly. So you may have lost half a year.
well, I opened up page 76 and 77. I wouldn't expect you to remember what you wrote on every single page, but you're going to know what you wrote when I tell you what page I open up to. Not doing the due diligence and always conduct due diligence on. And the reason I say this is I personally, whether you're talking about investing in real estate or you're talking about investing in coaching or you're talking about investing in whatever, a new business, due diligence could change not just whether you succeed with your money or fail, but it could actually save you a life. For instance, if you make a bad decision, it could put you back 10 years. And that's time. And people don't always think about not just the money. You lost all that money. That was a lot of time to build that money. And now you have to start again. So I just find it very interesting. I open up to a page that anybody that doesn't do due diligence, and I have to say, a lot of people don't do due diligence to the nth degree, which you need to when you're talking about big money and big investment. I mean, can I just share about like perfect publishing? Publishing. If you are going to have an investment and you're going to pay that money, if you don't know people that got their money back on that investment, in other words, did they get where they want to go? Did they create a new identity? Do they have a new personal brand? There are, and forget about publishing, whatever service you're hiring, if you don't find out other people succeeded and that they're getting, and then track new people that they're working with, if you can't find the success, you probably got a little clue this might not be the right decision right now. So why don't you speak on just some of the story, give me like one story out of here about a time that you either didn't do due diligence or you just completely changed the outcome because you had some wisdom.
Well, on the due diligence aspect and relationships, this isn't in the book, but the reason I chose Perfect Publishing is because I knew you and your team were heart-centered individuals that were going to do everything that you could to make my book the best it could be. I didn't know if it would reach any people at all without y'all, because I have no clue on how to get a book out in the public. I can write a book, but I did not know how to reach the audience. And I knew that you were a heart-centered individual, and I knew by default your team was a heart-centered team. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I wrote the book, is to help people understand that that is the main focus, is build relationships with heart-centered individuals, and the money will follow. The key is making sure that you're building relationships with heart-centered individuals.
100%. And I want to say that we talked before the show about updating this and turning it into a second edition. So a book is never finished, just like life is not finished until it's finished. Raising a child is never finished. Never finished. So when you have a book, it's a version of you. And Joe, have you ever heard me say, well, we're getting pretty close to the expiration date of your contract? There's never been that conversation, because to me, you are a person I believe in. and you're a person that I know will have more success if I spend more time with you. And guess what happens for me or Perfect Publishing? It rubs back on us. So you have this other beautiful book. I just cannot say enough wonderful things about this. You can open up to any page, and like you're smiling right there, you know, whatever page I open up to, you can't make a deal with a handshake if you're always clenching your fist. That's, I mean, just it doesn't matter what page. That's the thing. It does not matter. And then you have a beautiful story. So you don't have to. I know you don't have the book handy right now, but why don't you think of two or three quotes you did in here that you and just a small little story on each of them. Would you do that for me?
Okay. One of my favorites is love is great, but never drop your rifle to hug a grizzly bear. Um, and that basically boils down to everything in this universe is love, but you've got to have boundaries. You can love somebody and them not be a part of your life because of your boundaries and standards, and you you can love them, but you have to let them be where they're at because they're not where you want to go to.
I'm going to cut in because that was great. So I just opened up to four random pages, and I just want to read them. You can say whatever you want to, but I'll start with the first one. Measure a man by how he responds when things don't go his way.
That's a good one.
Well, come on, they're all good ones, but that is a great one.
Well, and to expand a little bit more on that, you can tell the character of man by what size object makes them mad. If they're getting mad at little things versus big things, and that really makes you wonder about some of the politicians that get teetotally mad at a golf ball. That's about the smallest thing I know of that you can get mad at.
Well, there's a couple that are complimentary here. A trail may be rough, but the journey is the treasure. And I'm going to compliment it with the horizon ain't a destination, it's a direction. So I think you are one of the people I know that you are enjoying life and you're picking how you spend your time so that the journey is enriching the result you want to have in life. I know I might have spoken for you, but I've seen it. So I just want to say that.
And 100%. And people focus on a goal. This mountain, I got to climb this mountain. Well, all that mountain does is get you to a different viewpoint where you can see the next mountain or the next horizon. It changes your perspective. Uh, the end destination is never a goal. It's basically what is your mission in life? What is your purpose? And working to continuously to improve on your service and actions and how you impact the world.
And to that point, translated into maybe monk language, you're about commitment, not attachment. You are committed to a vision and how you want the journey to be, not how it has to be.
Well, and that's one thing that I've learned. I haven't been to any monk schools, but the only thing I'm responsible for is my thoughts, my decisions, and actions. I can't be responsible for the outcome because it's not inside of my control. So I just make sure that I take the action that I believe is necessary with the information I've got. And then whatever the outcome is what the outcome is going to be. I take that feedback and I make new decisions and new actions.
You know, you remind me of my dad from a standpoint when I was being raised by him. Most of the stuff in here has to do with character. And I just want to say, my dad said to me on several times I made some mistakes that were bad judgment. He says, "Son, you're taking a risk with the only asset you truly have that will take you the distance. It's your character. Anything else you can replace, but you can't replace your character." And with that said, I think this book guides you and reminds you or causes you to embrace character. And here's one right here. It kind of complements some of the things I've said. Bridle your anger and let kindness spur you forward. And I'll end with this one because I think it's appropriate that the last one of the five that I opened up randomly says, "The cowboy code isn't written, it's lived." And by the way, just so we're clear, I read all five of the random five. I didn't find a better one. I found exactly what I wanted to see. Now, I've been trying to talk you into making this into a 365 because I really do believe 2026, we need not a thicker version of this, but we just need to complete the 365 days so you can be a cowboy at the end of the 365 days like you. Hey, was that event, Cowboy Joe, was that Camp Cowboy, Jiminy Christmas, between Ed Caldwell wearing his cowboy hat, you and all those cowboys. That is one of my favorite events I've ever been to.
And I wanted to shout out Scott Robinson that runs Camp Cowboy is an amazing individual, and I thank you for inviting me to that event because that is an event that I will help them with every year
Yep.
because what they're doing for veterans is unbelievable. And my thought process, any person that signed a blank check for this country up to and including their life not only deserves our respect, they deserve everything that we can do to help them reacclimate to life.
So let's translate that. We don't have to do it in Monkland anymore. Okay, we can do it in Americano. So what Joe is sharing, Cowboy Joe is sharing, is that the mission of Camp Cowboy is taking broken veterans, people that have PTSD, people that have depression, people that have suicidal tendencies, and putting them through a program that is love. It's horses, it's dogs, it's boats, it's fishing, and is getting them in a community that cares about them, and they have zero suicides, zero losses, and they have had well over 1,000 people go through the program.
They, they've had about 1,600 people go through and have not had a single person that's gone through the program commit suicide.
That's right. And
And
we lose
that
something.
alone is enough for me to be involved with them for life.
Yeah, and we lose something like 21 veterans a day, if I recall.
But and I think that number's grown a little bit.
I unfortunately it is, Joe. So Cowboy Joe, I want to tell you the reason I picked you. Yeah, you are a cowboy, and it does mimic the theme of the event. But I picked you because you care. You're a gentleman. Your character is the highest. You play big. You never say no. I've asked you so many questions about, hey, if you want this to be more successful, you do this. And you go, I'll do it. So I just want to say it was easy to call you for Camp Cowboy because I already knew the answer. So thanks for playing big. Thanks for being a friend. And thank you for trusting me because even though these books are not in every American's hands, it only takes the continued persistence and relentlessness for a big general or a big cowboy or a big show host to say, I have this and this makes your day better. And I love the fact that you listened to my advice and did it in two sizes because this does fit into and it's easy to give away. I love this size. This size, you got a big book in here. Oh, and I love would we say this one? This is the whole shoot match. Oh, and this is the pocket edition.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, it's a really beautiful book. Beautiful book.
And I'm, you know, you you kind of nudged me to get that one moving. I've had numerous people want me to write that book because I'll be in an event and I'll say some quote that's just normal language to me, and they'll be like, "What did you say? And what does that even mean?" But once I actually got the book put together, I realized that it's called Cowboy Wit and Wisdom, and it's meant to be funny, but it's a lot heavier on the wisdom side and making it fun to where it is guidance for people. And I've had people come up to me that were going through things and like, thank me for the book because there's a quote that just jumps out. And like you were going through random quotes, they said that they were just randomly flipping through it and this quote hit them. And it really was the quote that they needed for that day and the explanation behind it. So thank you for pushing me to write that. And I am working on the 365.
um, so one of my partner, Al Granger's published over 700 books, and he's the side that's Amazon and format and all that stuff. You're one of his favorites. He loved talking to you. He looked for an excuse to give you a call, Joe. I'm telling you. And we attract such great clients like you. So I just want to say thank you for being someone that I can't wait to serve. Anything we can do for you, Joe. And we're going to see each other, God willing, in a couple weeks, 4 weeks, I guess, and we get to hug it out again. And
As long as we're on this side of
Camp Cowboy is coming later this year. So and I think it's November.
Yeah, it's right around Thanksgiving. I've already got it put in my calendar.
Oh,
So
really?
can't override it.
All right. Well, I want to give one more. I want to give another one just to kind of. Well, how about this one? This is a nice one. Never mistake kindness for weakness.
That's a pretty good one.
I do like that one as a nice finish because you're a very strong and confident, and you mean business, and you'll do whatever it takes to make things right. And but you're a kind soul, and just take care of kind people because they deserve it.
I appreciate it.
So,
And
Joe, this is one time.
that quote was more of a warning for people than anything.
Well, after we're done with the show, I might just have to go ahead and reread. I always smile when I'm reading these things, and you can almost see I'm on a page that's going to light me up again. You know, so I'm excited about these being turned into second editions possibly, and uh, just you're a good trail. You're a good trail boss, man. Anytime there's a trail to go, I want to do it with you, Joe.
Looking forward to doing a lot more trails with you, Dr. Ken.
All right, Cowboy Joe. Thank you very much for all the smiles you bring to the world, and you are a person that says something and then he does it, and that's a true gentleman. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've just heard from Cowboy Joe. If you have not gotten a copy of your book, it's on Amazon, and trust me, he is as witty and fun to listen to as he is to read. So you'll have fun following him. How can people connect with you, Joe?
Uh, I don't really do Facebook. My team does some marketing on it, but LinkedIn is probably the best way to connect with me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's Joe Marques, and it's got Cowboy Joe in it too. But if you type Joe Marques, that picture will show up. And then also my website is www.cowboyjoe.me. That's me, not .com. And you can learn a lot more about what all I do there.
All right, brother. Well, I'll see you on the trail pretty soon, and I'm looking forward to May in Tampa. That's gonna be great.
Definitely.
All right, take care.
Have a good one.